わさびアニメ、すごいですね。
Welcome home, Goshijinsama Ojisama, to another episode of Made in America. So glad you could join us today. I am head maid Shay from Maid Cafe Mikasu, and today I am joined by Maid Taiga from Animaru Maid Cafe. We're very excited to have her today. Super nice, love their whole cafe aesthetics. Very excited to talk to her. That being said, I am head maid Shay, like I said. I am a magical flower fairy that comes from the Enchanted Garden. Maid Taiga?
Hello, I am Maid Taiga of Animaru Maid Cafe. I represent the Sumatran tiger. And one fun fact about the Sumatran tiger is that they actually love to swim.
So thank you guys, like I said, for coming back. It's really good to see you guys again. We are going to be talking all about Animaru Maid Cafe today, just because they're amazing. So you said you were what kind of tiger?
Sumatran tiger.
And I believe the reason that it's so specific is because your cafe aesthetic is based on endangered animals, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So how did you come up with that theme?
So I've always been like an environmentalist. Those kind of topics are really important to me. Taking care of the earth, and everything like that. And I work for a company over here called Monkey Paw Entertainment that runs a lot of our conventions here in Arizona. And I was sitting at one of our conventions and thinking about, they run a couple of fur cons here. So I was thinking about their fur cons, and I turned to one of my coworkers and said, do you guys have a maid cafe for your fur cons? And he said, no, we don't. I was like, well, would you like one? And so I started brainstorming like while I was sitting there, and I was like, it would be really cool to do something for the environment and to raise awareness for like endangered animals, since it's like it fits in with like the furry theme. So I decided on endangered animal themed. And we do, every event that we do, we pick a different organization to raise funds for.
Oh, that's so nice. You said fur con as in furries, or as in what exactly is a fur con?
Yeah, so fur cons are generally made for furries, but I don't know if it's because it's so hot over here or what. A lot of people don't wear full fursuits. Yeah, our summers are right now we're under 105 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's nice for us. But
it's also really hot here in Florida too, so we can relate on that anyway.
Yeah. So I find that at our events, not a lot of people wear the fursuit just because it is very hot here, but people also will dress in gajinka and other animal representations to represent their fursona.
So I will be interrupting every so often just to answer questions as they come in the chat. Everything Zen92 says, will you guys be at MegaCon Orlando next year? I don't know if you will be. Hopefully Maid Cafe Mikasu will be. Heaven forbid that we actually have one next year. We should be, but I don't want to say that we will be because you never know. But that is our plan, so hope to see you there. Let's see. Yumi Tan says, oh, I think that's really far for them, right? I think Animaru Maid Cafe is Arizona based.
Yes, we are based in Arizona.
I can only imagine how hot the furry suits must be, because even Maid Cafe dresses get extremely warm sometimes with the makeup and the wigs and everything like that. But I love your theme. As soon as I found out what it was and like read a little bit more on it, I blasted it all everywhere because I love it so much. So how did you personally get started in maid cafes? Like more so like not how did you, because you've already explained how you created Animaru, but how did you get into like the whole craziness that is maid cafes?
So in what year was that? 2013. I was at an event that we have here called Arizona Matsuri. It's a Japanese festival where we celebrate Japanese culture. And I saw a dance team that was on stage, and I was like, I had just graduated high school, so I was kind of looking, for stuff to do. And I was like, that looks like fun, because I've always been a dancer and a performer. I was like, I should do that. So I went up to them and I said, I want to join your group. And they're like, oh, just so you know, we're also a maid cafe. And I was like, what's that? So
You're like, tell me more.
Yeah, so 2 months later, I was in their maid cafe, and I stayed with them for about 5 years. So that is my how I got into maid cafes.
And then you decided to create your own, which was Animaru.
Yeah, I saw that the niche of the fur cons over here really needed some more attention. So I wanted to create a group that was mostly specified towards them.
That's awesome. I have a kind of similar story where I worked for a different maid cafe before, helping make Mikusi what it is. But mine was later. I had just graduated high school as well, 2014, and I joined a different Florida-based maid cafe. I am not a dancer. I'm really bad at it. So if you have any pointers, please let me know after, because I see your dances like on your Instagram and also your YouTube as well, and you're singing too, and I'm like, gosh, I wish I could be talented too, but I'm shucks. So that's one thing I always wish that I was better at, is dancing, because I love idol groups. More so, I like anime, like Love Live and stuff like that, of course. It kind of goes hand in hand with the maid cafe, but I always see those dances and I'm like, golly, I wish I could do that. And then there's girls in my cafe, it takes them like 20 minutes and they've learned to dance.
Right.
I'm like 8 hours in and I'm like, okay, I've got this. And then, they always try to help me, but I'm like, all right, guys, I'm going to be in the back, because
I like to think that everyone can dance if they just have a little bit of help and the right direction.
Yeah,
everybody learns differently, so
I'm very, very lucky that my maids are as helpful as they are for me anyway, because I wouldn't be able to do it without them. And I use them as a crutch as well a lot, because like I said, I hide behind them whenever it comes to performances. I'm like, all right, you guys have the spotlight. I'm gonna be back here doing my little jazz hands.
And that's one thing. That's one thing about Animaru, is that I kind of try to give everyone their own space to perform whatever talent they want. So we have one girl that actually does hula hooping, and I'm interested to see how it works out in the uniform. But I really want her to do hula hooping at a cafe. That would be so much fun.
It's gonna be so great with the petticoat. Oh my god!
I know.
It's gonna be so cute. Yeah, I saw on your virtual maid cafe on your YouTube that one of the girls was painting, and another girl was baking like vegan banana bread, and I was like, this is so cute. Like, I love this. So kudos on that for having a lot of different talent at your cafe as well. That being said, can you maybe describe some of the different maids and how it makes they're unique, maybe more so than just talent wise, but personality wise as well?
Sure. So we have our secondary head maid, that is Maid Aqua. She represents the Vaquita, and she's kind of got more of like a goth look to her. So she wears like the black lipstick and the dark. So when we stand next to each other, it's a very stark contrast. But I love her. She's great. We also have Maid Uki, who is the one that was baking in that video. She is the golden
like
langer.
Bear, right?
She's a monkey. Yeah.
Oh,
but she's she's very sweet and very energetic, as you could tell on the video. But yes, we love her and she is wonderful. Who else? Let's see. We have our butlers. We have Butler Yuki, who is the Arctic wolf, and he's kind of a little bit more shy, but once you get talking to him, he's really gregarious and fun. Yeah.
Yumi Tan in the chat says, Maid Taiga, what is your favorite dance to do?
That's a really good question, because I'm learning new dances all the time. I really liked, we did a song called Eevee March, which is Pokemon. When the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee came out, they did a song about Eevee, and it's really, really cute, and there's a lot of jumping in it.
Yeah. I love
like
the jumping ones are fun because the petticoats are, going.
Yeah, and I did that one with Butler Yuki, and it just like having the maid and the butler is so cute.
So speaking of dresses, then I see that you have a very custom dress. You've got little paw print buttons and super cute. Did you design your dress, or did you like what hands-on stuff did you have to do with like costumes? How did you choose them? How do you choose decorations, etc., etc.?
Yeah, so I had designed our uniforms with my friend Song. She's a seamstress, so she helped me. I had no sewing experience beforehand, so she helped me figure out how to make them. So I kind of just came to her and I was like, this is my rough idea. I am not great at drawing, but here is my drawing. And she said, we're going to work with it. And then she actually had these little buttons on hand and was like, why don't we put them on the uniform? I was like, you're a genius. So we did that. At first, everyone had pink, but then we switched to everyone has their own color. So mine is orange, Aqua's is blue, Yuki's is white, so on and so forth. Let's see what else. As far as the headbands, they were actually made by one of the maids in Sumuji. So she made these for us, and then we all just kind of decorate them however we like. Mine has very many things on it. And then for decorations, our cafe, I'm kind of still thinking of ways to incorporate the animal theme that are temporary so we don't damage any property.
Oh my gosh, that is one of the hardest things about decorating the Maid Cafe at events.
No tape, no anything.
Command strips. It's like, where can I put these command strips?
So last time we had these little baskets that had like Easter grass in it, and then we had these sticks where we made little paper animals. So it was like each of our animals, so it looked like they were in a little forest.
Yeah, that's really cute. So you're mostly convention based. Then do you have like a location? Maybe not a cafe, but like a location where you guys all meet up to practice and stuff like that? Because I see in a lot of your Instagram posts, you have like the brick background. It looks very aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, that
is my house. That is in my dining room. But yeah, we all
very
just kind of
aesthetic house then.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was recently redone right before we bought it. It's all like industrial, so it's really cool looking. But yeah, we mostly just meet at my house because it's like very central to everyone. Even though we have one maid that's in California, so we just Skype with her or whatever. And then one that's in Tucson, so she can't always make it up to us. But we just meet here, practice in my living room, and then everything else is done on our own. That's really the only meeting place we have. Other than that, we do conventions. So far, we've only done the 2 FurCons, Arizona FurCon and Itty Bitty FurCon, but we are hoping to expand soon.
Yeah, we Maid Cafe Mikatsu is also convention based, so I understand that as well. So you said you've done the 2 FurCons. Do you have any events coming up or anything like that?
We do have another virtual Maid Cafe that's going to be coming up at the end of this month. It will be Halloween themed because Arizona FurCon is usually the weekend before Halloween, so that's like our Halloween event that we usually do, and we didn't want to give that up this year. So we were like, we're going to do a virtual cafe that is Halloween themed. Other than that, just because of the current state of the world, everything is still really up in the air for us. But once it comes back, we're definitely confirmed for those 2 FurCons again, and I'm going to work on us getting other cons in the area.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, it is, the state of the world is a little crazy, but it's a great opportunity to do things like this and, do go virtual. And I mean, if we wouldn't have gone virtual, I wouldn't have had the pleasure of interviewing you today. So it is a blessing in disguise in some ways. Let's see. So out of the events that you've done, what has been your favorite event? And do you have any memorable stories that you'd like to share from that event?
I really enjoyed Arizona FurCon, which is the event we did last year in October. It was our second con, and our first showing sold out. I think all of our showings sold out, so that was very exciting for a new group because it was only our second event. And I have to shout out to all of my staff members how much I love them and appreciate them, because I don't even have to tell them to do anything. They just go and do it. which is very refreshing to me
It
because I'm a
sounds
little bit of a
refreshing.
control freak. So I'll be like, do this, 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 and this. And like, if this isn't done, it's like, but you know, once the set ends, they're cleaning already, they're flipping the tables and everything like that. And I'm so grateful to have every single one of them. And just honestly, just being with them is so much fun.
Yeah, it sounds fun. I've been to Arizona quite a bit, but I've never been ever to a fur con. I don't think we have any here in Florida. I might be mistaken, but I've never seen any. So it's a really cool like niche thing that you found. So I commend you on that. Wasabi Anime says, Maid Taiga, do you eat cake with a fork or a spoon?
I eat cake with a fork.
The reason that we ask is in the first Made in America, there was a debate because I eat cake with a spoon, and apparently
okay.
that's not common, and it like created this war, I guess.
Well, I have a question. Do you eat rice with a fork or a spoon?
A spoon.
See, that's the correct choice.
But I eat a cupcake with a fork.
That's fine.
I don't know why. I mean, it divided. The first time it was so shocking. It divided everyone. Well, I want to say divided to give myself a little bit of, like say that it's all right that I eat it with a spoon. I had one person that agreed with me. Everyone else said it was fork. But
I guess it really depends on the type of cake. If it's more of like a
tres leches.
softer, more Like I wouldn't eat a tiramisu with a fork.
Right. I don't know. They more so said it to re-spark the debate, I think.
Right.
Tom Kroom says there's actually a very popular convention in Orlando. It's called Megaplex, which I didn't know. So that's good to know. Thank you, Tom. Mina 6399, that was hard because I'm dyslexic, but I got it. The first ever Maid Cafe I went to was Maid Cafe Mikasu at MegaCon Orlando in 2019. Oh, thank you. That means a lot. We get a lot of first time like Maid Cafe guests at our cafes, and it's always cool because they always come in with a mindset of what it is going to be like, and then they leave and they're like, that's not at all what I was expecting. And it's so refreshing to see that because it's such a struggle, to get away from the common stereotypes of what people think maid cafes are based on what they actually are.
That was a big thing for us too, because there's a lot of negative connotations with furries, which was a big note of anxiety for me when I started, because I didn't want, people to think negatively of us. But from what I've experienced, those two fur cons were the only ones I've ever been to, but everyone was extremely kind, very understanding. And we also had a lot of people that were new to maid cafes because they really only ever felt comfortable going to fur cons instead of like anime conventions. So for us to be there, they were like, oh, now I can experience a maid cafe and see what it's like. And it was really fun and kind of eye-opening to do that.
Yeah. I apologize. I was drinking my water and it splashed up and got me in the face. So if it looks like I'm tearing up and I'm emotional, I'm going to say it was the water.
My stories are just that great.
They really are, but it is moving, especially as someone that has worked in a maid cafe and worked like running a maid cafe for as long as I have, because those small moments, like people's first time at a cafe, or people just pulling you aside and being like, wow, that was really fun, or that made my weekend, my weekend or convention just means so much. Like words can't express. Like that support is everything. Let's see. So as far as a favorite story from a maid cafe event for me, I tell this one a lot because it's more of it's always touching when like people draw you or something like that. Like we sometimes have guests that will take the time to draw us on napkins or stuff like that. My memory, I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's one that I like to share because it's so real and it just happens, I was watching a different maid cafe perform, Act 12. It was in Toronto, and I had a tray of tea, and one of the fans was dancing with light sticks, and they hit my tray, and I poured hot water on the back of a guest, and it was so traumatic. Like it was so like I'm like I feel so bad, but I couldn't help it, and they were so nice. Like even though very probably hurt, they were like, oh, don't worry about it, blah blah blah. And it just showed like their, that support of them understanding, and it just means a lot that people support you even though you make mistakes, and sometimes hurt them apparently. Let's see. So Maid Cafe Mikasu started back in 2016, I believe. I started Maid Cafe Mikasu in I started working in maid cafes in 2014. So I've been doing this now for 6 years, which is crazy to think about. And you even longer. You're into it for like 7 now, I think.
Yeah, about 7.5.
Before maid cafes, was it like kawaii or Lolita culture or anything that got you into it, or?
Yeah, I was definitely a little bit into Lolita. I was very into Fairy K. That was like a big thing for me, and I've always
What is that?
been really. Fairy K is like soft pastels and like kind of like your aesthetic. I think you would really like Fairy K. It's like very
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, very soft and sweet, like glittery. And then Decora and all of like the different Harajuku street fashions, I was in love with them. So I've also studied Japanese for about 8 years.
That explains why you speak it so well and can sing it.
Oh, thank you. I'm nowhere near fluent. I've only studied on my own, but hoping to go to school soon, so that will be fun. But yes, I've always just been very fascinated by Japanese culture, and especially the fashion, because it's very fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go hand in hand, I think. If you like maid cafes, you typically like either Lolita or like kawaii culture, or something like Japanese fashion kind of related. For me, I like pastel goth a lot, just because I think it's a cool aesthetic. That's why I'm so excited that Halloween is coming up, because I would also like to do something for Halloween, because it's such a great opportunity, and some of my maids are really into like Halloween. At Maid Cafe Mikasu, the maids are like, they go for more of like the enchanted kind of mythical creature vibe. I'm a fairy. Maid Celeste is a mermaid. Maid Tsukimajo is a witch, and they're twins. So we have Maid Tsukimajo and Maid Komori, and Maid Komori is a vampire. So we all kind of have like the mythical creatures kind of vibe.
Yeah,
I don't know how Halloween. That came about, but it's perfect for Halloween, so we're very excited. So I don't really know what we're gonna do yet, but it's definitely gonna involve eating, because we all really like to eat.
Yes. I can't wait to see what you come up with.
Yes, same goes for you. People can watch your virtual maid cafes on your YouTube, right?
Yes, we did have a premiere for the virtual maid cafe, but since we did it on YouTube, you are free to go back and watch it again and again and again and again.
So where did you said it premiered? Where? I'm sorry.
On our YouTube.
Okay, so that's. Oh, I get what you're saying.
That's a really cool feature on YouTube, when you can have, kind of like Twitch, you can just have a live stream and then people can go back and continue to watch it.
So the colors of your dresses, the brown, white, and pink, is there any special meaning behind that?
I chose the base color because I wanted to do something a little bit different. My original concept was black and white, like traditional maid cafe colors, but I wanted something to set us apart a little bit. And I didn't want to do like dark brown or like medium to dark brown, because that's very at-home cafe.
Yeah.
And we found this color, and I was like, I like that a lot. And then we really matched it with the white and the pink, and my seamstress said it's Neapolitan, like Pa.
Oh god, that's so bad. Yesterday we did a dad joke challenge where, I don't know if you've ever seen those YouTube videos where you try not to laugh and you like deliver dad jokes. That would have been perfect, because I would have lost, because that one was really good. That got me. We always slip into dad jokes for some reason at our cafe. If there's any like lulls in like the mood or anything, we always bust out the dad jokes. I think my favorite from yesterday was how many ears does Spock have? the left
I don't
ear,
know.
the right ear, and the final front ear. It's so good, and I can laugh at it today. So
Oh.
there was so many good ones, but that was the one that I delivered, so I am biased too. But so you as a maid, how did you choose your personal aesthetic, like the blonde hair, all the accessories, etc., etc.?
I before I started the cafe, I already owned this wig, and I didn't have a use for it. It was one of those things where I just bought it for fun, and I was like, that would be really cute for like a tiger. I chose the tiger because I love cats, and I wanted to be a cat of some sort, and I thought tiger was cute. So my color is actually orange, but I don't have a lot of orange accessories, so I mostly just use pink.
And you personally have a lot of cats too, you said, right? You said 3 or 4?
I have 4 cats, so they were a big inspiration for my my aesthetic. There's my tail.
Oh, there's a tail too!
Yeah. And my
Typically
big ears.
Yeah, typically I have pointed ears, like fairy ears and some wings, and a wand, but yeah, not right now. I can't have the wand or the wings with the background that I have, and I can't sit either. So kudos to you for being able to sit in your tail, because
thank you.
Let's see. The chat says the pink works well with the uniform, and Yumi Tan says the pink works well with the uniform, and OMG, your tail is so cute. And then Mina 6399 says so adorable. So they all really like your tail. And yes, Mina 6399, I'm just gonna call you Mina because I'm gonna read your comments a lot, says Maid Celeste is really cool, and Maid Komori too. They're really nice. I got really lucky with the maids that are currently with Maid Cafe Mikasa. We have 12 at the moment. Yeah, we have quite a few. It would be great if we could get them all on stream together, but it would be too much chaos.
Kind of be chaos.
It's already chaos whenever we get Maid Aga and Maid Celeste together on stream because they kind of don't get along all the time.
Oh
no. More of like a sisterly kind of don't get along. Like they secretly they love each other, but yeah. They get into their little ruts, and then it's like, okay, no, we're streaming. Like, you guys can argue about this later. Like an argument will go on for like 5 minutes, and I'm just like, the inner tsundere is like bubbling to the surface. I'm like, okay, guys. Kira Bay 2212 says, "Are you looking for any more maids? Because I want to join." And then one of these. Actually, we are always looking to bring in more maids. If you're Florida-based, if you're Arizona-based, that's a question for Maid Taiga. Or apparently California-based too, because she has a maid in California, which is crazy. I can't imagine that being easy for you, but.
Yeah, well, she started out being here. That's how I met her, was she lived in Arizona, but by the time I had started the cafe, she'd moved for work. And she messaged me and was like, I really, really want to be a part of this. And I was like, well, I trust you, so I think you'll be able to do it. And she's been great so far. She comes out for one event per year, which is totally fine by me, because our events are very, very small, the ones that we do right now. So we have a very small staff. And it kind of gives me the opportunity to rotate staff for events, so that it's not always the same people at every event.
That's really impressive. Though, sorry to interrupt, but that's really impressive though that you've only done 2 events and you already have the follower count that you do on Instagram.
Oh yeah, I'm very, very lucky that we have become somewhat popular. I'm honestly, every time I look at that number, I'm like, that's not real. That's not a real number. And you know, to some people that may not be very much. It's 500 some odd, but to me that means the world. I was going to say, as far as hiring, currently, just because of the state of the world, I like to meet new hirees in person, and that's not really something that can happen right now. So right now we're just kind of hanging out where we're at.
Everyone's kind of in a state of limbo kind of right now, which, like I said earlier, is a great opportunity for this kind of culture, like not only Maid Cafe, but just like cosplayers in general, to turn to the internet and, you know, platforms like Twitch and YouTube, like you guys are doing, and, you know, Instagram. Like, it's a little bit more difficult to arrange like photo shoots and things right now, but it's just such a great opportunity, especially when you want to do collaborations like we are today, just for something like talking just about what we do, you know, and how we're similar, how we're connected across all these states, which I always say, one of the most mind-boggling things for me, and one of the reasons that I really enjoy Maid Cafes the way that as much as I do, because I'm a little obsessed, not gonna lie, is because if you actually think about it, there are hundreds of maids just in America, not including other countries, and that common interest, the same goes with cosplayers and like fandoms. That's why fandoms are so amazing, is that you're connected by this red string of fate, even if you don't see it. And it's like, I'm connected, like before this, I didn't know you, but we were still connected without even knowing it, because we both had that similar interest and we both do the same thing. So sometimes it's easy as just reaching out and being like, look, we're both like the same thing, you know what I mean? Like, we both have similar interests. Let's come together, you know, during this time and do something with that, you know what I mean?
And I think it can be really easy for people to think that it's like more of a competition type of thing, but you know, with comparing follower numbers and things like that. But really, we are just like one big NATO family.
Yeah,
across
and honestly,
the entire
like,
world.
The follower numbers, like at that point, don't really count. Like, if you can be there to support each other, you'll grow. You know what I mean? Like, you can grow from each other, which is why I think Made in America hopefully will do well, and I just hope it does, because like that red string of fate, you know what I mean? We just have to be there for each other, like you said, as that Mado family, to you know, talk about our interests.
A very great concept, because not a lot of people realize that there are maid cafes in America.
Yeah, but the ones that do really seem to enjoy it. So I think getting that word out there is, you know, really important. Let's see. Haru Hagu Maid Cafe says, hello, Maid Fuchsia here. Hello, Maid Fuchsia.
Hi, Fuchsia.
Hello, Mado fam.
Yes, just as we were talking about Mado fam.
At Home Cafe 2 says, I love both of you. Hugs from Akihabara.
Ooh. I last year in September, we had At Home Cafe actually came here to one of our conventions, and I got to work very personally with them. And like we were saying, it is like we are just a big Mado family across the entire world. They were just like some of the sweetest girls I've ever met. And, you know, they were very supportive when they found out that I ran a maid cafe. They were like, that's amazing. What do you do? And it really, I can't stress enough just like how much like of a community, how much of a tight-knit community we are if we just reach out to each other.
Yeah, it's like convention, people that go to conventions in general and cosplayers, like that's a community. But there's so many smaller communities and side communities, and Maid Cafes is just one of those small communities that it's like, it's just amazing to be in, you know what I mean? I got really blessed with the company that I work with now that does conventions, Green Mustard Entertainment, Wasabi Anime, and Tom Kroom, and our producer's son, Danielle. I got to go with them, both Tom and Danielle, to Canada, I think 2 years ago now. I can't believe it's been that long. And that's where I spilled hot tea on the guest. And I got to see Act 12, which is a Maid Cafe brick and mortar location. So one of the rare ones, you know, that outside of like Thailand and Japan. And Maid Dreamin' was there from Japan. And I got to meet 3 of the maids for Maid Dreamin' that weekend. I wish, where were you 2 years ago? You could have taught me some Japanese. Right. I didn't understand anything that they were saying, but the first time I met them was in the lobby of the hotel, and they came up to me and they said, oh, kawaii! And I was like, did they just call me cute? Because seriously, it's like 3 little Japanese girls, and they're adorable. And I'm like, there's no way they just called me cute. I was like, there's no way. Like, that's like, that praise from them was it meant everything. Like it was
Oh,
priceless.
it really,
It's still one of my
really
fondest
does.
memories. Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see. Raiko Callian says, that's interesting. You have a butler. Would be cool to see more butlers in the mix in general. So can you tell us a little bit more about your butlers?
We have 3 butlers currently. We have Butler Yuki, Butler Kaji, and Butler Emoti. Butler Kaji and Emori are new. They haven't debuted at an event yet. But Kaji is the Saola, which is like a type of deer with its, what did they call it? They called it like a unicorn, like a deer unicorn, because it has little horns.
Oh, deer unicorn.
know, right?
That is such a kawaii mix.
I know. And then Emori is the red panda. I'm still kind of getting to know the 2 of them. Kaji, love her to death, but she's a bit of a information vomiter. She's very, very intelligent and likes to. Yeah, we have both male and female butlers. She likes to let you know when she knows something and then explain it to you, which is, I like that. I love learning new things, but to some people it can be overwhelming. And then Emoti is a little bit he's a little bit quiet, but very, very sweet and very well organized.
He's quiet for now until the full waves of the Maid Cafe hit him. And then
yes.
evolve into the ultimate butler. Let's see. Haru Hagu Maid Cafe says, what do you learn while working and running a maid cafe? Our group hasn't done much, but I've learned a lot just by running one. So the question there was, what do you learn while working and running a maid cafe? What have you learned from that?
Oh gosh, I've learned a billion million things. I've learned to be patient with not only my staff but with myself. I do tend to get a little bit overwhelmed when so many things are happening at once that I'm trying to control because I have control issues. And I've learned to trust other people. I promoted Maid Aqua to assistant head maid or secondary head maid, whatever you want to call it. She does the same things as me, and having that extra set of hands has been like exponentially helpful. I just go to her and I say, can you do this? She's like, yeah, sure. And Maid Uki I actually just promoted to social media manager. So having the 3 of us, even though we're a small group, having the 3 of us kind of divide and conquer is really, really nice. Another thing that I've learned is that people are not as scary as you think they are. I have very high social anxiety. So when I first started going into maid cafes, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to talk to people. I don't know how I'm going to be able to serve people. But just being yourself and, you know, listening to the people around you, making conversation with them, even if they don't necessarily want to talk to you, just kind of go with the flow of things, and everything will turn out all right.
Yeah, it's similar for me. I'm not as yeah, I am. Just kidding. It's very stressful doing events and just coordinating, especially when it comes to coordinating girls. Especially when it comes to coordinating girls that are in big fluffy dresses. Because they want to, like, you know, fix, and it's like, no, you look beautiful, you're fine, you know what I mean? So it's a bit of a learning curve on just how to people at times, and how to separate. You want to have fun, but it's also, you're trying to make this a business, you know what I mean? Which is a very difficult thing for me to juggle sometimes. Currently I don't have any assistant head maids, but it's just me.
I would highly recommend it.
It sounds good. Yeah, it sounds really good. But I do trust my girls enough to be there when I need them to be. And I typically rely, especially on certain ones out of the cafe, to be there if I'm like, hey, can you do this for me, you know, today or tomorrow? They're usually like, yeah, I can do that. And I'm like, thank you. It's been a little difficult, especially lately, because we haven't been able to see each other. Getting back into that maid mentality.
Yeah, we just had a
always awesome.
Yeah, we just had a Zoom meeting with all of us, and it was very refreshing to see everyone's faces rather than just talking through chat. So that was, yeah, it was very nice.
I can't wait to see it. We have big plans for when we meet back up in person, but it's gotten to the point where it's like, are these plans actually feasible though, or are we just getting hyper because we haven't seen each other in so long that we just want to do everything? You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Haru Hagame Cafe says, what has been your favorite thing to do so far, or your favorite moment? So we kind of already briefly touched on our favorite moments. So what is your favorite aspect of running the cafe?
I think seeing everyone's hard work come to fruition is just such a rewarding feeling that you really can't compare to anything else. Seeing my staff members smile and just feel so accomplished with themselves is like incredible. I also love performing, so being able to perform with my friends and you know, have people enjoy it, genuinely enjoy it, and, you know, be cheering along is amazing.
Yeah, I also think that seeing people's guests' reaction, like the Goshi Jinchama's reaction to how hard you've worked, you know what I mean, is very rewarding. Like if you've been working on a performance, or if you were just like, oh, I got these new decorations, you know, and not a lot of people will notice them, but when that person does notice them, and you're just like, notice me, senpai. When senpai notices you is what really, you know, makes it awesome. But I think, like we were talking before, the Maido family is what's most rewarding about Maid cafes, for me anyway. Just because you do, even if it's just that group, your Maid cafe, you're all connected by that, and it's almost like instant friendship, you know what I mean? Because you all are there because you like something, and it immediately gives you something to relate on, you know what I mean? Wasabi Anime says, are you enjoying the music playing for Made in America? I love this music. The artist's name is Chiyoko. She is a J-pop-ish artist. I guess it would be called J-pop. She's an artist from Los Angeles, and she is absolutely amazing. So if you'd like to listen to more of her music, check her out at chiyo.co, chiyo.co, and you can hear more of her music there. And just absolute kudos to her talent, because she's great. Thank you. Do you have any other comments or anything that you'd like to ask? I'm gonna go back up the chat and see if I've missed anything really quick.
Trying to think if there's any staff members I haven't talked about yet. We did just hire a bunch of new staff. Haven't given any shout outs yet. Yes. Maid Tira is one of our newer maids, but she was with me in my old Maid cafe, so I'm very familiar with her. She is the spectacled bear. It's a breed of bear that looks like they're wearing glasses.
That's adorable.
Yes.
That's literally just asking to be a maid, like a maid persona.
Right. She's a professional chef, so she is like our cooking mama. And then there's Maid Hoshi, who is the bent wing bat, which I thought having a bat maid would be the cutest thing in the world. So
that's adorable.
I'm very excited for that.
So how do you go about finding people to bring into your cafe?
I typically put out like an announcement for hiring on Instagram, on social media and stuff like that. And then I have a Google document that a Google application that people have to fill out, and then they have to do a video application, and then if they want to be a performer, they have to do a separate application for that. So it's quite the tedious process, but it kind of really shows their dedication, and it's been pretty good so far. Everyone that I've interviewed has been really sweet, so it's been really difficult to choose.
Yeah. So if anybody has any last minute questions, feel free to put them in the chat before I wrap it up and we do our little closing goodbyes. Speaking of your maids though, they all have separate maid Instagrams, or is it just easier for everyone to follow at Animaru Maid Cafe?
The easiest way to do it is Animaru Maid Cafe. I think the only one that has their own Maid Instagram is Tira, and I believe it is Tira Cosplay. I don't want to be wrong about that. Maybe I should check. But yeah, for those of us that want to have our personal accounts connected to the cafe, I usually tag them in it. Some people don't, they want to keep it separate, so we try to respect that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
while
Tira
you're looking
Cosplay.
for that, Tira Cosplay.
Tira Cosplay, yes. And she does cosplay and maid.
Kira Bay says, "How can I apply to be a maid?" So you said just look out for when you post bulletins, but you're not really looking for anybody at the moment because of the current situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when it does come time to expand your maid cafe, how many maids and butlers do you currently have?
We currently have 6 maids and 3 butlers, so a total of 9. In the event that we do bigger events, I would obviously need more hands. But for right now, we just do the smaller events. I would like to start cycling out staff members. So there's a pretty good possibility that once the world opens back up and things are safe again, we will be reopening applications. So just keep an eye out for it.
And what qualities do you think make the ideal maid or butler?
Someone who is not afraid to be themselves. You don't have to have the experience to make your uniform. I can make it for you. But you just have to have a lot of patience with me. So
number one thing, have patience with a handmade tanga.
Yes. Because I do a million different things. I do this, I have a dance team, and then I have an idol group, and then I have another idol group, and then I have my solo idol stuff. So I'm all over the place.
That's so impressive.
Oh, thank you. It's really not.
I mean, it is. I struggle with just like
scattered.
my regular adult human job, and then being a magical maid cafe fairy. Mm-hmm. Like even that is enough for me to be like, at times. So.
Yeah. I would say someone with a good sense of humor. We're all kind of just wacky people. We like to mess around with each other, and someone who's ready to work hard.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how much hard work goes into working at and running a maid cafe, because of performances and all the other small things that people don't really notice, when attending. For me, I think the big thing is that quality-wise in maids or future maids is, like you said, be yourself. And it doesn't matter if you have an outgoing personality, I think, because there's so many different personality types. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to connect with someone guest-wise. As long as you're being yourself and being genuine, I think it's okay if you're not like that 125,000% bubbly personality all the time. It's okay if you're chill. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay if you can't dance. Guilty. There are other things that you can do and just be like a genuine person, I guess. That's so cheesy and corny. The power of friendship.
The power of friendship.
Kira Bay says, how can I apply to be a maid? I want to apply to Maid Cafe Mikatsu. Well, if you are Florida based, you can always reach out to us on our Instagram or our Facebook at Maid Cafe Mikatsu, and chances are you will be talking to moi. So I will send you over the online application that we have and talk to you further. Raiko Callian says, Maid Shay, would you hire a butler for your cafe? I've been thinking about extending to butlers, but I already struggle with just wrangling maids. So currently we don't have any plans to extend into the butler cafe category. That being said, though, we never, if you want to message me on one of those platforms that I said earlier, we can always talk about it. So Haruhaga Maid Cafe says, I'm sad I missed the beginning, but I'm always here for supporting my Maid Cafe friends. red string of fate, like I said, except for us, it's like
Yeah.
pastel pink string of fate.
Yes, yeah.
It's so great to be part of a community.
Mm-hmm.
Wasabi Anime says each Made in America episode will be on Twitch for 2 weeks after they air. So I'm thinking that I will start stealing them from Twitch and creating little snippets, and I will post them on our Instagram and send them to Make Taiga too, in case she would like to post this week's as well. If you, or not you because you're here if I'm talking to you, but if any of your friends missed today's stream and you'd like them to see it though, just keep in mind that it'll be up for 2 weeks and you can send the link and share this around as much as possible. Our goal is to spread the kawaii culture as far as it will go, and I just hope this, grows and gets, traction. Let's see. So, as far as running a cafe, you said some of the greatest challenges were just juggling and trying to figure out how to be not as controlling. Like as I don't. That sounds bad if I say it like that. I don't mean that to sound bad. As how would I put that without making that sound awful?
I'm very much a perfectionist, and
that sounds much better.
Yeah, it's I tend to have these big ideas that aren't always feasible. So for me, really just reaching out to my staff and telling them, hey, I have this idea. Do you have any suggestions, any ways we can logistically make this work? Is this too much? What should our deadline be? Things like that, especially with, sorry, my cats are like tearing up a storm in here. Especially with doing everything online now, I have a lot of really big ideas for things that we can do virtually. And so every time I get an idea, I'm like, I'll reach out. Usually I reach out to Maid Aqua first, since she's my confidant, my right-hand woman. And I'll be like, this is my idea. Is this dumb? Yeah.
So I guess for you then, it must be relatively hard to have these big ideas and not be able to follow through with them completely. Even more so now that they're, the world's changing, like you said, we can't meet up as often. There's not as many event platforms to take our kawaii culture to. But even for online events, like, I have huge ideas. I think you and I are probably the same this way. Like, I draw inspiration from idol anime, like Japanese shows and like stuff like that, and I'm like, I want to do this, but like what's feasible is so,
sorry, I lost my audio for a second.
So it's feasible based on what we wish we could do sometimes, gets a little sad because we just want to give our viewers and our Goshijin-samas the best that we can, and we've got to work with what we've got sometimes. So as a perfectionist, I assume that'd probably be a little difficult for you at times.
A little bit, but a big challenge for me is reaching out to people and asking for help.
Yeah.
But I do the best I can to remember to do so.
Well, it sounds like you have a great support system as far as your maids and your butlers. It sounds like you've done really well choosing them, and they seem to be, like, they're all, from what I've seen on Instagram, very cute and very good maids.
Yes.
But I also just might be biased to your cafe because, like I said, I'm a simp for your cafe.
That is fine.
especially now that you have the assistant head maid too. It'll be nice that you can kind of spread the responsibilities. I say that, but I think I've gotten to know you well enough now where it's still going to be difficult for you to give the responsibilities over. But it'll work out really well, I think.
And it's not so much that I can't deal with things not being my way. It's that I feel like I'm putting a burden on someone else by asking them to do things, even though they've told me that they're happy to do these things. It's just getting out of that mindset.
Yeah, I feel that. I definitely relate to that. So Haruhaga Maid Cafe says, I probably missed this question, but how did you come up with your theme? So if you don't mind, just like a few seconds just to reiterate on how Animaru Cafe came up with the theme. So it's endangered animals and...
Yes. So I'm a big environmentalist, and I saw that our furcons here needed a Maid Cafe. So I decided to kind of mash the two things together and go with the endangered animals theme to raise awareness for endangered animals and cater to that niche of furcons.
So in the future, for your future events, how can people support Animaru Maid Cafe?
So you can find us on Instagram. That is probably where we are most active. So it is Animaru Maid Cafe. We are also on Facebook as Animaru. We just started our own Twitch channel, which Maid Uki is in charge of because I don't know how to do that. So that is Animaru Maid Cafe. We also have Twitter, which is rarely used, but I'm trying to get back into using it. That is also Animaru Maid Cafe. And then we do have a Ko-fi, which once again, I'm very bad at updating, but it is Animaru Maid Cafe.
Well, I see on your Instagram that you have like a link tree that has some of your links. The only one that I currently see on there was the YouTube. Did you want to talk a little bit about your YouTube? Plug it for just a second and your virtual Maid Cafe?
So our YouTube has a lot of videos from our past events, all of our dance performances and things like that. And that is where we do our virtual Maid Cafes. We did one for September at the end of last month, where it was just like a little 15-minute collection of our different maids doing things that I like to do during quarantine. And we will be doing another one for October. So you can find it on our YouTube. Yes.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see what you have in store for Halloween.
Yes, hopefully we will be having, I think, 6 staff members doing that one. So it'll be a little bit of a bigger production, but I'm still excited.
That's so great. If you'd like to follow Maid Cafe Mikasu, you can do so on Instagram at Maid Cafe Mikasu. We did the same thing where all of our social media is under the same name. Just makes it so much easier. Instagram's at Maid Cafe Mikasu, Facebook, Twitter, same at. You can also follow Wasabi Anime here or subscribe. I'm not sure. I think Twitch is follow. And then if you'd like to support us even further and subscribe, that would be awesome too, because then you can see Maid Cafe, or you can see, yes, Maid Cafes, but Made in America, specifically the show, every Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also have a lot of great content on the Wasabi Anime channel as well. Tomorrow at 8:30, every Tuesday is going to be Convention Nerds, where they talk about what it's like running a convention. So kind of like Made in America, where I talk to other maid cafes, but they talk to other conventions. So it's really interesting. That one's on Tuesdays at 8:30, and then RPG for Weebs on Thursdays at 8:30 as well, p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if any of those sound interesting to you, then please follow Wasabi Anime here on Twitch, because that would be really awesome. And then follow us on Instagram too, but especially follow Animaru Maid Cafe, because they are bae, and I simp for them so hard.
Oh, thank you.
I just love your theme and everything that you stand for, especially because you said your profits, you know, or your proceeds go towards, you know, different.
Yeah. And so far, 100% of our proceeds have gone to different funds for endangered animals.
That's so nice. I love it so much. I'm like blushing. I'm just like, oh, senpai. So anyway, I just want to give you the warmest of thank yous for joining us today on our Made in America. You are our first guest as far as Maid Cafe is coming in and talking to us, and I couldn't have asked for anybody better to interview, especially first, to break the ice as far as our like stream goes. So just thank you so much
for having me
out. I really appreciate it. I wish you the best of luck with your cafe, and I hope that we can collaborate in the future and stay in contact.
Yes, yes.
And thank you to our viewers as well for tuning in and watching us today, and we hope to see you in the future, and we hope that you come back home soon. Goshujin-sama, Ojo-sama. And bye. We'll see you later.